Hello Mason Nation, my name is Emmy Reitinger, and welcome to this week's episode of Lasso TV. The JV show, a talent show put on by students in the fall and spring, is happening tonight. It's a great way to see your peers show off their acting, singing, dancing, and other miscellaneous talents. There will be slow, soft songs, interesting musical numbers, rap dance numbers, and jokes. If you didn't get a chance to perform this fall, don't worry, there will be another JV show in the spring. In other news, a lot of movies have been released this year, some fantastic and some abysmal. We now go to Eliza Gibb, who has reviewed the newest Spider-Man movie, SpiderMan Homecoming.
No, I have not.
No.
I have not.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
I have not seen Spider-Man Homecoming.
Would you want to see it?
It's on my list, so I'm going to rent it at some point, but I just haven't seen it yet.
It was very interesting in its visual effects.
Great story first. I thought the action was great. The characters were just amazing. I think that they did Peter Parker way better than in previous movies.
It was pretty lit. Childish Gambino was in it. And when he used the webs and like grabbed the guns from the enemies, just like yanked them, that was pretty funny.
I'm not really sure, actually.
Only dislike is they seem to focus a lot more on they didn't focus a lot more on action. I would have liked a bit more action in comparison to in proportion to just normal standard scenes, but honestly, I'm fine with it.
It was a fake Spider-Man. That wasn't the original Spider-Man. I get the original Spider-Man's getting old, but they should still stay with the original or not make another movie.
Probably just like in general the jokes and puns that were made. Like there wasn't one specific scene.
My favorite scene was probably the scene on the barge where Spider-Man ends up essentially trying to save but failing to save the barge, and then Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, comes back in and saves the day essentially. And it really does show the flaws in Spider-Man's strategy.
When I see Childish Gambino walk in.
And finally, you may have heard of the MIP Personal Project. All freshmen and sophomores are required to work on this project, the class of 2020 being the first to do so at our school. Their project will end in March as the class of 2021 begins theirs. We go to Nina Rifkin, who is covering this topic.
Thank you, Emmy. I started by asking several freshmen and sophomores about the project.
First heard about the MIP Project. Were you excited about it?
No.
Do you have any ideas for the MIP Project?
No.
Is there anything that you'd like to know about the MIP Project?
Not really. I'm just generally apathetic and not excited at all.
When you first heard about the MIP Project, were you excited?
Sort of?
Do you have any ideas for the MIP Project?
No.
Is there anything that you'd like to know about the MIP Project?
Yeah, when do we start?
When you first heard about the MIP Project, were you excited?
I was actually really unhappy.
Do you have any ideas for the project?
I don't even know what it is.
Well, is there anything that you'd like to know about the project?
Is it graded? Like, what is it? I don't know what it is.
Are you enjoying the MIP Project?
Not really.
What is your project?
I'm going to bake foods from different countries.
If you could change your project, well, do you want to change your project?
No.
Is there any advice that you'd like to give to the freshmen or anything that you'd like to tell the administration to make the project better?
Well, you can take school time out of it, but like make them have choices.
Only vaguely.
What is your project?
I'm building a dragon with movable wings from scratch.
Would you change your project?
No, I think I enjoy it. I was going to do it anyway, so.
Is there any advice you'd like to give to the freshmen or to the administrators?
For the freshmen, document everything. Keep every meeting down, record lists, what you're thinking, just everything. And for the administrators, no, I have no advice.
Thank you.
Later, I met with one of the MIP project coordinators, Mr. Kelly, to try and get a different perspective on the project.
So, what should the MI project be to students?
Well, that's a good question. I think maybe the best way to answer it is that it will be something a little bit different for different students. Because my thinking on the project is that its goal is to provide each student the chance to explore something authentic that they care about, right? To take a whole point, I think, is that it's a chance for students to show both to the world, but also really to themselves, just how far they've come.
Do you have any ideas for things you will do different for the freshmen?
One thing that I think would be pretty neat is to be able to give folks a little bit more time to sit down and talk with their advisors. And I know that that came up, I think, in the recent editorial in the Lasso, that in some cases, students feel like they don't have enough time to meet with their advisors. You know, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
We were constrained by the fact that we needed a coordinator with the buses and with other needs that are placed on the teachers during those short Wednesdays. You know, ultimately, our hope is that students are tackling projects that they're interested in enough, that combine the things they're interested in, so that, you know, they want to go and discover those things on their own without being handheld through the process.
Yeah, I think more brainstorming time would be helpful from what I've seen. I heard from a student that while they were initially interested in their project, they eventually got burned out and feel that they're bored by it now. And I think having more time to brainstorm in the beginning could have stopped that.
Yeah.
Do you think the MIP project is important from an educational standpoint?
Yes, I do. I think it's important for a couple of reasons. One is that it's actually required by MIP. So if we're going to be an MIP or an all IB district, that's something we need to do in order to be compliant with MIP. So from that standpoint, it's really quite important. But I think it's also like a really great opportunity. The reason why I signed up to be a coordinator wasn't because I wanted like more hats. It was because it was something I thought was like a really cool opportunity. And I was sort of jealous that I hadn't had a similar opportunity when I was a 10th grader or in high school. The chance to get school time and get credit on my transcript for like investigating something that mattered to me. So often we're told what we need to study and what we should care about. And this is a chance for kids to really sort of strike out on their own. And part of this exploration is giving students the authentic experience of following something through. And it's not just, oh, I'm curious about this, so I'm going to open up a Wikipedia for 5 minutes and then move on. I'm going to actually see it through and like see what I can do with it, right? This is the kind of thing that I feel, and the reason I became involved with it, because I think it has outstanding potential. And with anything new, there's going to be some growing pains. And so, you know, you asked, your last question was, what different things might we do going forward? Well, you know, one of the things that we've always been planning on is trying to get feedback to figure out how can we make this better.
Do you think that the students are enjoying the project?
I think that depends on the student, right? Clearly there are some students who are unhappy about having to do the project, who feel resentful about it. None of them have come to talk to me about it, personally. So I don't know exactly what that resentment is built from. Again, there was some talk in the Lasso editorial, but a lot of that resentment seemed to be based on facts that weren't true. So I don't know exactly what's driving all of that. That said, I think that there are a lot of students who are enjoying it.
Finally, do you have any suggestions for the freshman class of 2021?
With regards to the project or in general? Excuse me.
Either.
Okay, I think I'll stick to the project because that's sort of what we're talking about. But I think, you know, when the time comes to start those conversations, you know, my hope is that they realize this is something that they're going to be asked to do. And again, the kids who are doing the best with it are the kids who are sort of embracing the opportunity. The most important thing is to go into the project with an open heart and a positive attitude. And again, it sounds a little bit cliched, but it's really true. Generally in life, I have found that if you walk through it singing, you're a lot happier than if you walk through it frowning.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad that I got to interview you.
Yeah, well, I hope it was useful. And I hope if anybody has questions going forward that they'll reach out, because that's what we're here for. Ms. Pollack, Ms. Lane, and I are always happy to chat. So thanks for inviting me over. It's great to see so many old faces.
Yep.
The MIP project certainly has room to improve, but from what I heard from Mr. Kelly, there's no doubt in my mind that the coordinators are trying to improve it. I think the most important thing we've heard from everybody is to pick a project that you enjoy and go in with an open mind.
Thank you for tuning into Lasso TV. Come back next week when we get into the Halloween mood.